and also film. So the agenda of today, first we want to talk about who we are and what we actually do. Then I will tell you a little bit about our current challenges and learnings we have from presenting 3D models and simulations in online meetings, what use cases will benefit of these online meetings. And afterwards, we will do a live demo of visual components and stage. And as a conclusion, there will be the answering of your questions by Markus and me. As I already said, my name is Matthias Wochnik. I'm founder and CEO of VRON, and I have about 15 years experience in XR technologies and visualization.
So thanks for joining our session today. So my name is Markus Schneider. I'm a territory sales manager in visual components with almost, I will say, almost 20 years in the CIX environment. And I joined visual components in December 2017. Former, I was a sales guy from a big cat vendor. So also thanks for joining our conversation or our session here. Okay, then I share my screen because I want to tell you something about visual components, some words about our company, what we do, so that you know something about visual components and have a conclusion what the solution brings. So visual components founded in 1999. So we are not a startup company. We are almost established already in the market. And our headquarters is in Espoo. It's near Helsinki in Finland. And we have subsidiaries also in North America and in Munich, where me and my colleagues belongs to, and we are responsible from the Munich office. We are responsible for the German, for Austrian, and the Switzerland market. And so most of our customers are globally and working globally. So we have also more than 40 authorized resellers around the world. So it might be that that one or two resellers are in your environment when you are also spread around the world. What does Visual Components provide? So we provide a unique solution for 3D layout and factory planning to simulate, analyze, optimize, and visualize production processes and material flow. And also the functionalities has a broad range, also included robot offline programming and virtual commissioning. So this is our main competence, what Visual Components provide in regards to our solution.
Markus, we still see topics, the first slide.
Yeah, sure. That was everything to the first slide. So when we talk to our customers, so what are the influences from the market, what they get? So what we experience that our customers give us the information that the demand of the customers. So in this case, customers you can split into internal customer, maybe your own management or C-level, or the customers you want to sell your solutions. So they have so the demands are changing. They want to have the products more faster. They have the needs are changing, so that your machines or what you produce should be more flexible. So also the end customer demands are changing. And what we experienced also is what you can see here under ones, that the that you as a provider, maybe as a system integrator, you have to prove that your concept will fit the needs of your customer. So the proof is that something is very on a very high level. So, and then our customers have some problems because their customers request multiple layouts. So you have iterations with layouts. The customers have different or maybe late changes and so on. And the tools what are currently used are maybe only for experts. Imagine an Excel spreadsheet where a lot of formulas and cross references to other formulas and so on, and the results are very difficult to understand and are very difficult also to see the results what should be provided. What we learned is that it's difficult to influence also the decision makers, because the decision makers which maybe can imagine the material flow of a product through a 2D drawing, they are maybe retired or will go to retirement or to pension in a few in a short period of time. So the new decision makers need to have a 3D model, and then they can see, okay, my material flow is like this and like that. And this is where Visual Components brings up our solution, or brings up the solution. So for what kind of requests Visual Components is the best solution. So first, because Visual Components is very easy to use, so it's for sales acceleration. So with Visual Components, the user is has the ability to create 3D layouts in a very fast, in a very short time frame. And also the iteration of changing are very fast, so that you can, or that the user can provide new layouts in a very short time. So this is more for the sales perspective. The other perspective, if you want to expand, or if you want to what was the right word? If you want to make your own process more productive, then you can use Visual Components also for your manufacturing design and for your planning. And the last thing is the platform. So because Visual Components is a very open platform, a very open solution, you can create your own maybe OEM version, like maybe if you know KukaSim, or if you know FlexLink, or if you know Delphi. This is already the platform is Visual Components, and then they make their own solution on top of Visual Components, so you can use it as an OEM version. Just two customers which are using Visual Components. This is just two references out of hundreds of companies which are using Visual Components. So AGCO Fendt is one of our customer who's using Visual Components for improving their own production. So AGCO Fendt was acquired by AGCO, and so it becomes an agricultural equipment company. Formerly, they just created, or they just manufacture tractors, and now they manufacture all components, all parts for agricultural equipment and so on. And AGCO has more than 40 plants around the world. And we currently start with the Fendt headquarter in Germany, which are supporting 7 plants in Germany, and they want to improve and innovate their production and optimize their production workflow. And they have also internal projects, like, for example, the motor hood you see here from this tractor. It's currently in sheet metal, and they want to change it in plastic. So this is a totally different production workflow from a sheet metal motor hood to a plastic motor hood, and therefore they're using visual components to simulate it first, the production, and then bring it into the real world, and so they can see the maybe the failures or maybe the mistakes they will do, and then they can analyze the material flow and analyze also the production first in visual components. So they save costs, and what they tell us is also that the communication with the suppliers is also better than before. Before they exchange 2D drawings, and there are some mistakes in it and so on. The suppliers cannot interpret the right thing, and so with 3D, the communication is much better. The next one is Grenzebach. It's a different case because Grenzebach is using visual components for the sales. And this is what we tell, and this is what is our topic also today. Maybe how to improve the sales with visual components and VR on or stage. So Grenzebach is using visual components for large plants for the glass production. And they include the customer in a very early phase in the discussion together, how this plant might be, how the whole process might be. And what they do everything in virtual reality. In this case, the customer has to visit Grenzebach in Asbach-Bäumenheim in Germany to see all this, and so the customer comes to Grenzebach and see and have a look at the whole plant. In this example, Grenzebach simulate a 140-meter long glass production line with visual components, invited the customer, found some things what they have to eliminate, what to change, and they find the mistakes in a very early phase, and before it's really built on the customer side. So again here, the efficiency is really to a fast and accurate layout design. So in a very early stage of a sales process, they save costs, and it's a sales tool where they can really make precise quotations from the beginning of the sales process, and sell more. And sell also more or win more bids in this case. So yeah, this is something about this is what Visual Components is doing. Just two customers which are using in a high effective way Visual Components. So, and I think Matthias can take over again to tell something about VR on and the appropriate challenges.
Thanks, Marcus. So yes, I will take over again. And yeah, let's talk a little bit about Stage. What is Stage about? Stage is a tool like Zoom. It's for conferencing. And our idea is to be the Zoom for 3D content. That means we enable 3D content providers to use their content inside a conferencing environment. For example, we support CAD tools like Autodesk Inventor or other tools from PTC, Siemens, Dassault, SolidWorks, CATIA, stuff like that. We do have the direct connection that we show today to the simulation solution of visual components. Here, the specialty is that we do real streaming, live streaming into the session. But we also provide SDKs for Unity and Unreal. So everybody who wants to have high-end visualization for marketing purposes or want to build a training application can do this with these SDKs and use it all together with our cloud platform, Stage. Some words about what conferencing is. How do we understand conferencing? So often people are talking about collaboration. From our point of view, collaboration is a content creation process. That means people work online together. They work asynchronous. They don't have to work at the same time with the same object. And they create something, a deliverable that they want to use afterwards in the process. In a conference, people are meeting in real time, sometimes physically, sometimes virtually. They want to discuss something with the team. So there is already some content that needs to be discussed, and people want to explore content and they want to make decisions. So conferencing is a decision-making tool. The challenge that we have today with video conferencing, such as Zoom or Teams, is that it doesn't work really good with 3D data. So 3D data is still tied to traditional workflows, which means that often people meet physically. Sometimes they do printouts, sometimes they build, for example, wooden prototypes to explain something, but they don't use their 3D data in this meeting. Especially in video conferencing, it becomes very complicated. It's easy because it's a tool that was made to share the screen, so it's good for PowerPoints and Excel. But as soon as it comes to 3D data, there are different challenges. So look at this picture, for example, this short video. Here you see an operator using visual components and doing some changes. This is inside a team session, and this is the only view a participant in a team session can get. So you see a 2D movie, more or less, from somebody moving something in 3D space. Often they do not really understand what happens. So there's no experience of the model, especially for people that are not experts. And to see the model, for example, for the first time, it's really tough to understand what's happening. If you look on the same situation in Stage, here you see 4 participants in a Stage meeting. Every participant has its own view. He can move around a little bit. In the upper left screen, you see a head movement as well of one of the persons that are looking on a different perspective. And you also see the other persons inside the 3D space represented as avatars. And you really get a better understanding because you're part of what is happening. You can move around, you can take different perspectives, and are totally free in exploring the model itself. If it comes to interaction, again, in Teams, you have the problem that one person is doing something, one person can interact with the model. That means if you want to do some specialities or want to see something from another perspective, highlight something, you need to ask the operator to do that. You cannot do it on your own. So people are not really involved. Sometimes they also get bored. Sometimes they do not understand what's happening, and you just don't catch them inside such a meeting. If you look again on Stage, here you see 2 participants interacting with each other. So one person is pointing at a certain line, and the other person is just measuring the distance from the yellow plate to this line to understand, okay, what distance will that be? Can we move it maybe a little bit forward? How much space do we win? Something like that. People are talking to each other inside the meeting. So there's voice chats, there's pointers, and we do have these dedicated 3D tools such as the measurement. At the very end, it means people can work much faster. They have a deep understanding of the data, and they can also identify errors in the planning and talk fast and change these errors directly. Also, Stage does support local rendering. That means that's something, unfortunately, you will also see on our demo later, because we do here a Zoom screen sharing. There is, of course, a latency in the transmission. So when we share our screen, you will see some latency in the movement, some hiccups there, which is not nice. So that doesn't happen in a Stage meeting because everybody gets a local rendering on his local machine. And also, due to this local rendering, if you have the right machine and the right equipment, you can also enter a meeting with an XR headset and get the full one-to-one scale experience of the 3D model. So, of course, we do have some requirements for such a meeting. First, we need a full integration. That is something we do have with Visual Components. That means you start Visual Components as a software, then you start a conferencing session in Stage, and you just connect the software behind the Visual Component software with Stage, and everything that is happening then in the Visual Component software is streamed live to the meeting. And of course, there's another requirement. The whole meeting needs to be accessible. That means a lot of people today do conferences or VR, XR conferencing, and as a prerequisite, you need to have PC-based VR or sometimes also standalone VR headsets. But the truth is, especially in the sales process, when you talk with your customer, often the customer does have special equipment. So it's very important and also possible with Stage that you enter a meeting just with your standard hardware, such as a business laptop, to follow a meeting. Some words about the features of Stage. So, of course, we have some standard features all over our product portfolio. This is personal avatars, voice chat, a pointing ray, but also 3D navigation. We can choose between different environments. We have a bird's eye view. If you have, for example, a large manufacturing layout, which is hard to overview from the floor level, you just move upwards like 10 to 15 meters and have a bird's view to look around. You can adjust your personal height, especially if you want to understand a little bit in ergonomics. You can choose, for example, a height of 1.60 meters or 2.10 meters to understand what different persons at a different height can see. Then we have some tools. We can do screenshots with a camera. You can do measurements. You can slice objects to look inside to understand this a little bit better. And especially with Visual Components, of course, we have this streaming connection. So all changes are live streamed, but also you can start, pause, and resume the simulation directly from the conference. So you don't have to switch all the time. The service infrastructure behind our service is scalable cloud on AWS. We have a full user management and a meeting invitation service behind. And of course, we take also care about security, and the full service is GDPR compliant. Some last words about the benefits before we go to the demo. So as Marcus already said, Visual Components is often used for sales and planning, and especially in sales. People also benefit a lot from Stage. So people can prepare a meeting and then start the Visual Components layout and present it inside a meeting. So a typical scenario would be a customer in a meeting together with a salesperson, together with a pre-sales, which is hosting the session and also using Visual Components in the background. So the salesperson can fully focus on his customer, listen to him, to what he's saying, explaining things. And the pre-sales engineer, which is also using Visual Components, can do changes in Visual Components as the customer or the salesperson tells him. And this makes life a lot easier because people don't have to travel anymore. You don't have to build prototypes that much. and you're a lot faster and more effective, because you can also explain improvements, what makes you better than your competition, and your customer can understand it really fast because he's inside. You show him. You don't explain it on an Excel sheet. You don't explain it on pictures or in a movie. You really show him the live functionality, such as you would do when you would walk through a manufacturing site. In planning, of course, there's also a lot of beneficiary things, especially when people do VR, because they have the VR headsets ready. They can, of course, talk about ergonomics, try things, understand things more in depth, and discussing global teams really fast how the next manufacturing layout should look like. So I will hand over back to Markus now and give you the chance to have a look on our live demo.
Yeah, thank you, Matthias. So I will take over and share my screen again. So can you see my screen again? Full screen?
All good.
All good. Perfect. So let me give you a short introduction. What is Visual Components? I prepared something here, and I will finish it up in a few minutes, so that we can create a workflow with a robot maybe, and the machine tending, and also with a manual process. So first of all, Visual Components is a library-based solution. So library-based means that all the library parts are hidden, or not hidden, can be used in these blue folders here. And as you can see, we have currently more than 2,570 elements in our library, and the library is constantly growing. And this library is supported by our colleagues in Finland. So every time when a new library part is available and the user is connected to the internet, then the user gets the new library part, and it's also for offline usage. So all the parts are on your desktop computer or laptop computer, and you can take it with you. But you can also create your own library parts in Visual Components and save it here in some kind of Windows Explorer based functionality. Because Visual Components, it's not a CAD system, but we can import CAD data. So from all known CAD vendors, we can import the native formats. So like from Autodesk or from Dassault and SolidWorks and Siemens, and also the native formats like STEP. Or maybe if you get some plant or factory facility parts also, which is regards to the BIM, we can also import the EFC format. So this is everything included in the solution. So, and how is Visual Components? How can we work with this? So let me finish this small kind of layout. So we are working with a drag and drop functionality. So maybe I finish this layout and I need here some maybe a robot pedestal. I put it here in the layout. You can see I simply drag and drop it here. Then we have here also machines. These parts in the blue folder, these are already prepared for simulation. So these are intelligent or very they have already some information in it, what you can use for simulation. A very big portion of our library parts are the robots. We have more than 1,500 robots in our library. So from ABB, I can scroll it down to Uanda. Name and no name robots are in our library, so you will find every robot in our library, and also visual components robots. These are generic robots, what you can use maybe for conceptual studies, because this 6-axis robot is parametrically, you can change the height and the size and so on from this robot, and you can use it for conceptual design or conceptual studies. Maybe you need a robot which has a reach of 2 meter 50. So you type in here in this in the properties 2 meter 50 or something like that. So, and you can also see that the robot is connecting to the pedestal, and it jumps right here. You can simply click it or simply drag and drop it to this pedestal, and they know each other. So the next one, what I want to use is okay, the machine, and then I need a feeder. So for that, not in this is in Flowcon, is here. So I need here a feeder, and then I connect it here to the conveyor, and you can see it snaps directly to the conveyor. It know each other, and the feeder knows that has to feed on this on the conveyor. So now I have finished my layout with the drag and drop functionality, and now I create the material flow, and I use these 3 buttons here. So the product, it's simply, now for this example, is a VC can, a visual components can, and then I have here the processes. I can change the process behind every. Now here behind every process, there's a kind of storybook, what can be expanded or can create by your own, and also you can create it on your own, and change it here. And with this flow, in this flow environment, you create the material flow, and this is very simple. You can see here that there's a process flow editor, and this is empty now, and this regards to the VC can. Now I start to set up my material flow. Now from the feeder, it goes over the conveyor. You can see also the resource. It is the conveyor is used it's used to transport the product. Then I activate the robot, and the robot should bring it to the machine. And after the machine process is finished, it should take it back. It should take it back on the conveyor. Now and then afterwards it should be transported by the conveyor. Then my worker should take it and bring it here to the end of the line. So I create this, and you can see that it's a manual process, and my worker takes it and brings it there. So after that, I can start the simulation. Let's do it here. I press the play button here, and you can see that now in a specific time frame, which I can change also, the cans runs over the conveyor belt, and the machine is doing his job. And now you can see in the early phase that my material flow here from the feeder is too fast, and I get my bottleneck is here from this conveyor, and my worker has a lot way to go. Maybe if we make it a little bit faster, you can see that also here after sometimes you have a bottleneck with your worker, and then you can make the decision to maybe to use 2 workers and so on, and analyze your layout. So this is what we can also do is making statistics out of it. But maybe if you're curious about our solution, we can make it in. We can set up a separate meeting with you, so that we can tell you more about visual components. So Matthias, let's jump into stage and see what happens in stage.
So yeah, just host the session and I will join you.
Okay. The host from stage gets this window, and what I have to do is simply click the.
We only see visual components at the moment. So
okay, just a second. So I have to share my screen, not the program. So now you should see. Can you see also the stage?
The stage client, and yeah, I can also take over and explain a little bit here. So what Marcus is doing now, he's first hosting a conference, and as soon as he hosts it, I will be able to join from my side, which I will do, and we will both meet each other in a virtual meeting. So I'm joining now. I see Marcus meeting just starting. And it takes a moment until my business PC also is inside the meeting. Meanwhile, what you see here is a layout, just a large environment. You can switch between layouts. You could also use other layouts. And what is also important, if Marcus, if you press M one time and go to audio, you could enable external audio just to make sure that we don't get any interferences. So let me see. I think my screen to my PC is a little bit slow because I'm recording at the same time. Maybe I should choose just another PC over here to enter the meeting. Just a second. I have another one. And I'm just joining that one. So yeah. So here I've joined with an avatar called Hannah. Hannah is also joining the meeting, and yeah, we're now connected here. And also now my user Matthias is joining as well. So this took a while because probably of the rendering of the video at the same time, the video recording of the Zoom meeting. So Marcus, if you now connect.
Could you press the space button, please?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, perfect. So now I connect visual components with stage, and this is what we set up right now. So we have this this layout here. I press the play button again, what you can see under 1, so and then Anna is starting to make the or the layout is starting what we set up in visual components.
And the good thing now is we can walk around. Maybe Marcus can show it. You can really also look inside the machinery to get a better understanding what's happening inside. So this is also possible because, yeah, you can just move through all the data. And we also could now start to discuss things. For example, if I look down here, Anna is taking the little glasses and brings them to nowhere. Maybe we need something like a shelf. Could you maybe just put a shelf inside here?
Yeah, sure I can. So I pause. Then I switch to visual components. Maybe I put it back, and then okay, good. You want to have a shelf buffer. I can put it here. So this is my shelf buffer. I assume you already see it in.
I do see it.
No. Just a second. I have to. maybe I reduce it. Yeah, you can see it's already there in stage. So I don't want to have a pellic, I want to have a manual picking. So I change it, and it's automatically changes in stage. So what I have to do now is to change the process, because Anna brings it to the shelf. So I change the flow. So let's put it here, right from the sink. We change this and make a new flow. So from here to the shelf, and then it goes out to the sink. Maybe we make here in the sink, we make a little delay. So this is what I tell you, you can also create your own statements, or you can configure what happens there. So now I say that that there should be a delay of maybe 10 seconds. And then there's a request from the shelf. So or maybe 20 seconds, something is happening. Okay, great. So let's see what happens. I can start also the simulation here in Visual Components, not only in stage. But let's see what happens in stage. Okay.
Maybe as we are running a little bit out of time, let me have a look here. So you put the shelves there, and I also did a measurement because I wanted to understand how far is it away. So it's about 4.30 meters away from the conveyor. And also what I could do now is just to get an idea of how it looks inside the machinery, for example. I could just do a cutting plane, put a cutting plane in here, do some slicing. I turn it around so that Marcus can see it as well. So slice the whole object and yeah, look inside the machinery as well. So as we're running out of time, I would say, Marcus, let's end the demo here. So if we're just leaving and having a look on the chat, if there's any questions that arise during our presentation. Let me see. So as far there's no questions. So if you like to ask us things, please write to the chat on the bottom, and we can answer some questions within the next 5 to 10 minutes, because yeah, that would be more or less the time for the webinar today. So far,
maybe if you have some feedback, good, bad usage, would be also good, maybe.
so far, we do not see any questions, but you also see our email addresses here, and also the website information if you want to gather some more information and ask us something afterwards, after the meeting. So to explain something or to wrap up the whole thing, what people can do, people can use Visual Components, load their already existing CAD data from construction, build up simulations inside Visual Components, and present the whole processes to their customers or to their team members in stage. This can happen globally with several participants. You could also see the streaming is really fast. So data is streamed with up to 200 megabits per second. So depending on which bandwidth the host has available, you can have a good real-time experience, I would say, inside a session itself. So no questions so far. So then I would say thank you very much for your time today. And oh, there's a question. This is a question about if communication is limited to take notes and measurings, or if people can change the model itself. So the model itself is only changed really inside visual components. So what people can do here is start stopping the simulation inside the conference, but as soon as it comes to changes, these will be live performed inside visual components, because this is the data source for the meeting.
Yeah, but what you can do is you can do the screenshots in the camera environment, so all members can take pictures from the specific layout or perspective, and can download it after the session.
Maximum number of users is at the moment limited per session, and it's 12 per session at the moment in our enterprise package. So depending on which package you buy, we have the professional package, which can provide up to 6 users in a meeting, and the enterprise package is 12. But of course, you can have simultaneously several meetings at the same time with 12 persons per meeting each. So
otherwise, maybe Matthias, can you say something about the performance or the system requirements?
Yes, system requirements, as I said, are pretty low, so you can really access with a business laptop. Of course, most important as it is data streaming, you need to have a good bandwidth. So the limiting factor normally is the host, the upload bandwidth of the one who's streaming the visual component content, but of course, also the clients, the guests that are in a meeting have to have a good bandwidth as they are downloading the content only as fast as they can be on the machine. Yeah, also it is good for the host, especially to have enough memory on this machine. This is also a limiting factor, especially when it comes to large layout with several gigabytes in memory. But these are yeah, some requirements, especially of larger customers. So I think we are done for today. It's almost 5 minutes over time already. So I think we can finish today. Thank you for your time. Have a good day. Yes, the recording will be online. We publish it on YouTube, and we will send all participants afterwards the link to the session itself.
There's another question.
Yeah, now there are some questions, so we still wait until these questions are also answered. So yeah, somebody asked if customized elements and can be imported, and if people can add functions. Yeah, Marcus, question to you.
Yeah, absolutely. You can import your CAD data, also large assemblies, and you have the ability or the functionality in visual components to add links and make them kinematically move. Also with velocity and so on, and make it as intelligent as you want. So this is everything also included in visual components.
Okay. Yeah. Also, thank you all for your time again. It seems it was the last question, and yeah, I tried to finish again. So thanks for your time. Have a good rest of the week, and hope to see you soon on stage. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.